How's everybody doing? Positive and productive, I hope. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with me. Do me a favor, share the content with friends, family, anybody that you think the content is relevant to. Remember, local elections are more important than national elections, but dollars are stronger than votes. They won't stop until we stop them. Liberation comes at a cost. Who's willing to pay for it? Ladies and gentlemen, jumping directly into this really quickly. So we already are like queued up right here in the Gronk app in the AI. And the question that I posed is in 79, when Carter froze about $8 billion of Iranian assets, which was then lifted after the Algiers Accord, how much of the assets was Iran able to receive? So just backing up, that's the question I asked. So before we even get into the answer of that question, because we're talking about different things that happen with Iran and various things of that. So I kind of want to go back a little bit. I want to go back just a little bit. And you can see the question. You said sanctions were reimposed 2018. So my question is, when did they stop and who first started the sanctions? So here's a clear breakdown of U.S. sanctions on Iran history. Focusing on your questions. When did the sanctions that were reimposed in 2018 stop? The sanctions reimposed by the U.S. in 2018 were primarily the nuclear-related sanctions that had been lifted or waived under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, also known as the Iran nuclear deal. The JCPOA was signed on July 14th, 2015 by Iran, the US, and other world powers, P5+1, China, France, Germany, Russia, UK, plus the UE. Implementation day was January 16th, 2016, when Iran completed key nuclear steps verified by the IAEA. At that point, the US and UN lifted or suspended most nuclear-related sanctions on Iran. This included relief on oil exports, banking, financial transactions, and secondary sanctions affecting foreign companies doing business with Iran. These eased sanctions remained in effect until the U.S. withdrawal. In May 2018, President Donald Trump announced the U.S. withdrawal from the JCPOA. The U.S. began reimposing the lifted sanctions. A 90 to 180 day wind down period followed. Full reimposition of the previously lifted sanctions took effect on November 5th, 2018. Note, not all U.S. sanctions on Iran were lifted under the JCPOA. Sanctions related to Iran's support for terrorism, ballistic missiles, humane rights abuse, and other non-nuclear issues remained in place even during 2016 and 2018. So I wanted to say that specific part right there because a lot of people are talking about the JCPOA or the Iran nuclear deal. They don't really realize that there was more than just Iran would agree to show their nuclear weapons. They also had agreed to other things, which were they wouldn't pursue ballistic missiles, they wouldn't buy ballistic missiles, they wouldn't do humane or humanitarian rights abuses of that. And there was a few other things that they were not supposed to do part of that deal, which every time we seen that they were funding terrorism or getting involved in different things, whether we saw it, China, because remember it was P5+1. So whenever we or anybody saw that they were violating any of these terms and conditions, therefore some of those sanctions were not lifted. So who first started the sanctions on Iran? The United States was, and this is where it gets really important because this is where the second question or where we started at. This is where we get to some, I guess, the meat and potatoes, if you will. Who first started the sanctions on Iran? The United States was the first to impose sanctions on the Islamic Republic of Iran, November 1979, following the Iran hostage crisis. When Iranian students seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took 52 American hostages, President Jimmy Carter issued Executive Order 12170. This froze about $8.1 billion in Iranian assets in the US and imposed a trade embargo. These initial sanctions were lifted in January 1981 as part of the Algiers Accord, which resolved the hostage crisis. Sanctions were later reimposed and expanded in the 80s and 90s under President Reagan and Clinton due to Iran's support for terrorism actions in the Persian Gulf and pursuit of weapons of mass destruction. They grew significantly in the 2000s through 2010s over Iran's nuclear program, with multilateral involvement from the UN, UE, and others starting around 2006. In short, for first starters, U.S. Carter administration 1979, temporary stop 1981, hostage release, then reimposed, expanded later. Nuclear sanctions stop, January 2016, JCPOA implementation, reimposed, November 2018, Trump withdrawal from JCPOA. This pattern of imposition, partial relief, and reimposition reflects decades of U.S. policy amid at curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions, regional activities, and other concerns. If you'd like more, okay. So now, we read all that. If you need to go back, go ahead and go back, but I'm going to surmise it really quickly. So we realize that this has been ongoing from Trump, Obama, Clinton, Reagan, and it started at Carter, right? It started at Carter. So now let's go here at Carter because I want you guys to see something. So in 79, because of what was going on in Iran, specifically the hostage situation at the embassy, President Carter seized about $8 billion of Iranian money and or assets. So now, this is where we are. Again, in 79, when Carter froze about $8 billion of Iranian assets, which was then lifted after the Algiers Accord, how much of the assets was Iran able to recover? Iran received approximately $2.9 billion in direct cash assets immediately after the hostages were released on January 20th, 1981 as part of the Algiers Accord. Quick breakdown of what happened. Total frozen in 1979. The U.S., this was under Carter, ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. froze roughly 8 to 12 billion in Iranian government assets. Estimates vary. Treasury initially cited over 8 billion, while broader figures, including all holdings, reached 12 billion. This included deposits in U.S. banks, domestic and overseas branches, gold bullion, U.S. Treasury securities, and other properties. The deal under the Algiers Accord, signed January 1981 and implemented the next day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to hear the information. I'm taking my time to read this to you very deliberately and very directly because I want you to see all of the information. And see, this is why a lot of us have mis and disinformation, because now I'm trying to paint the picture of exactly what happened throughout the historical timeline so we don't have bits and pieces missing out of this. This is the reason why a lot of y'all don't know what's happening. So when you're reciting or regurgitating information that is not factually true, then someone can say, well, this is actually what's true. Oh, you think you know everything. You think this, you think that. No, I don't think anything. I just think that you're misinformed and you didn't read the actual context. And I know you didn't because now that I'm trying to give it to you, ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, let's continue. So the deal under the Algiers Accord, signed January 19th, 1981 and implemented the next day. About $8 billion was transferred into an escrow account at the Bank of England, controlled by the Algerian Central Bank as a neutral intermediary. From that pot, roughly $5.1 billion or sometimes cited as 3.7 through 5.1 billion, depending on exact accounting, was used immediately to pay off Iranian debts, loans to American and European banks, mainly syndicated loans from the Shah era. Excuse me. Another 1.4 billion was set aside in a separate escrow account for disputed individual bank loans and other claims. The remainder, about 2.9 billion, was then transferred directly to Iran once Algeria certified that all 52 U.S. hostages had safely left Iranian airspace. In short, Iran did not get back the full 8 to 12 billion. A large portion, half or more, went straight to settling debts that Iran owed U.S. Western banks. The 2.9 billion figure is the most consistently reported amount Iran actually received in hand at the time. Additional context. So before we read the additional context, can we understand what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Iran was tripping, and I won't even say Iran. It was Iranian students that were tripping and did what they did, right? I don't know if the government put them up to it, but some things happened in Iran. Our government, under a Democratic president at that time, I'm just saying the facts, whether that's here or there, it doesn't matter, but I'm just saying, because I know when a Republican does it, people like to point out that it was done under a Republican administration. So I'm just pointing out which administrations did what. So it was some students who held the embassy hostage and held 52 American students hostage. And then our government, under a Democratic president at that time, seized or froze anywhere between 8 to 12 billion dollars of Iranian assets and money. Are we all together now? They did that in 79. By the time the hostages were released in 81, Iran only got back about 2.9 billion of their own money under a Democratic president. So a Democratic president stole Iran's money because of what the people of Iran was doing, not the government. Are we on the same page, ladies and gentlemen? But now, when we have Iran's government actually involved in something, or the people, and most of y'all don't even understand how Iran's government is set up. We talk about the Ayatollah supreme leader, even though they don't run the government per se. It doesn't mean that they can't. Iran is set up in fractions or regimes, and you have different groups that run. Now, they do have a president of Iran, but then each group, like governors, mayors, so forth and so on. What the Ayatollah or supreme leader was trying to do, he was trying to go and then win all the elections and or overthrow some elections and make himself be the president of all the factions and or regimes. Plus, he was involved in a lot of terrorism and various things of that nature, not just on American Accords, according to P5+1. This is verified and documented what they were doing in multiple on multiple theaters and scenes and aspects. So I want you guys to understand that at a time when Iran's government was not involved in something, and then it could even be furthermore than say that at that time the Ayatollah even said, hey, I'm going to release the black people first because I know your government is doing a lot of crazy shit to y'all over there, and I feel sorry for y'all. I don't want to put y'all in the same shit that I got going on with America. Like, y'all don't know that, and I'm not an Iranian sympathizer. I'm not an Ayatollah sympathizer, because it was already even admitted that Ayatollah even did it for propaganda to sow division with the American people in attempts that the American people would hate their government. So I know why he did it. And people will say, well, we're justified in hating our government. Well, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't think that conversation can be answered in 2 or 3 sentences. I really don't think so. Maybe you feel that way, and I think this is why a lot of you guys are wrong on a lot of aspects, because some of these things, they cannot be answered in 1 or 2 sentences or just with one sit-down conversation. Like this conversation here. Everything that's going on with taking their money, seizing their money, giving them the money back, all of this stuff, this isn't a conversation of just, should we do it, shouldn't we do it, oh, did we take it? It's not just a simple black and white answer to this. I'm not asking you because some answers are yes or no. Is she pregnant? Yes. Is she not pregnant? No. Are you a boy? Yes. Are you a girl? No. Okay, some things are just simply black and white. Some things are. But now when I'm asking you, why does this girl act like she's a boy? You see? Now we got to get nuance. Now we got to understand how you was raised, what you was influenced by, what you were subjected to. Now we got to go through history to understand how we got here. So now, did we take Iran's money? Yes, we did. Were we the first ones to, is this the first administration to do it? No, it's not. Is it the first administration to take their money and then them complying or doing the things that we said and we give them a portion of their money back? No, it's not. So again, a Democratic president stole 8 to 12 billion of Iran's money based on simply what students were doing at that time. We took 8 to 12 billion, and then when they listened and did what we told them to do, we only gave them back $2 billion. Almost 2.9 billion. Give them. We took 8 to 12 billion. They did what we said do, and we only gave them back about 3 billion, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue. Let's continue, because now I want to add additional context, right? Now I want to add additional context to what even Democratic administrations were doing to Iran at that time. 1 billion escrow for claims. Iran also had to deposit 1 billion from the release funds or separately into an account for the newly created Iran-U.S. Claims Tribunal at The Hague. The tribunal, so really quickly, think about this. We took 8 to 12 billion of your money. We're only giving you about 2.3 billion back. And now I need you to put 1 billion in the escrow account so we can continue conducting some stuff. And if you don't, I'm gonna get all the money. Okay, let's continue. This tribunal has adjudicated thousands of commercial claims between the two countries over the decades. Some awards went to Iran, some awards went to U.S. parties. Additional smaller releases or tribunal awards occurred later. Example, a 1987 order for 451 million. Not everything was resolved in 1981. Some military equipment contracts, property, and claims dragged on for years. This 1981 partial unfreezing was a one-time hostage-related deal and is distinct from later freezings reimpositions like the nuclear sanctions lifted in 2016 and reopposed in 2018. The pattern shows that even when assets were returned, in quotation marks, significant deductions were made for debts and claims. So, do you see that, ladies and gentlemen? So, and now this is what I want to ask. I don't think it's going to be able to listen to me. So, it's not going to be able to hear me talk. So, as of today, has Iran been able to get any of the 6 billion? I know we can't have any white noise, so I was thinking. Alrighty, no. As of today, April 15th, 2026, Iran has not been able to access or receive any of the 6 billion in frozen assets held in a Qatarian bank. Latest status, the funds remain fully blocked and inaccessible to Iran. On April 11th, 2026, Iranian sources, including a senior official, claimed the U.S. had agreed to unfreezing the 6 billion and possibly other assets as a goodwill gesture during ongoing peace talks in Islamabad, Pakistan. They linked it to demands for safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. The White House and senior U.S. officials immediately and explicitly denied these claims, calling them false or untrue. No agreement has been reached and no release has occurred. There have been no updates since April 11th indicating any change, transfer, or partial access. Qatar continues to hold the accounts under the prior restrictions, humanitarian use only with U.S. oversight. Though even though at limited access was blocked after October 2023. So Iran can get some of the money only if Qatar and the United States allow them to, specifically for humanitarian issues. So now let's say if not the Ayatollah, but somebody in Iran says, hey, look, our people over here, this is what we need it for. We need some rice, we need water, etc., etc. They will release, or we need, gauze and bandages or whatever. We need, stuff for the people, humanitarian aid. They will release some of their own money for that. What it says, though, even though limited access, that limited access was blocked after 20. So because of some of the stuff that they was doing, I guess they said, oh, we're going to use it for some of this, but then those people were lying, or they got jacked for the money, or when they knew they were getting the money, something happened and they were like, okay, it was. So let's keep quick recap. The $6 billion comes from Iranian oil sales to South Korea, frozen under U.S. sanctions reimposed in 2018. It was transferred to restricted accounts. It was transferred to restricted accounts in two Qatari banks, Al-Hahi and Dakhan, and I'm probably not pronouncing that right, in September 2023 as part of a prisoner swap. Access was blocked again shortly after due to Iran's regional activity, including support for Hamas after the October 7, 2023 attacks. Even if unfrozen in the future, any use would likely face strict conditions and U.S. approval for humanitarian purchases only. This issue is tied into broader negotiations, ceasefire, sanction relief, Hormuz security, nuclear concerns. So the situation could shift quickly if a deal is struck. However, based on the most recent reports from U.S. and independent sources, no money has been released or accessed by Iran to date. If you'd like me to check any brand new development, compare this to the 1981 Algiers Accord release, or explain the current talks further, just say the word. So I'll probably ask more questions. I'm not right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually going to end this here. What I do want to do is recap with this is that number one, a lot of people, and it almost seems as though, what did he say? They praying on my downfall. They praying on my downfall. Okay, it almost seems that that's what's going on with Donald Trump. It almost seems like people are happy and praising that Donald Trump made a mistake. And like they're happy. Oh, he just did a big deal that, Iran just sucker punched him and this and this and this. First and foremost, that's not even true. What happened, what you guys are saying or reporting on happening, didn't even happen. But why would you guys be happy that our enemies are winning against us? So let me get this straight. If you were mad at your dad and somebody was about to beat your dad up and robbed your dad, would you be cheering that person on because your dad gave you a whooping, or your dad grounded you? Let's say your dad grounded you and whooped you for the wrong reason. He thought you broke the lamp, but you didn't break the lamp. It was really your little brother or your cousin. The wind really blew the lamp over and broke it. So now your dad don't believe you and he whooped you, plus he lied to you. So I'm just saying all kind of bad stuff your dad did to you, ladies and gentlemen. Your dad didn't believe you when you told him the truth, plus he whooped you and he lied to you about something, right? So now your dad is out in public, and would you champion your dad getting beat up and getting robbed? Would you champion that? 5 minutes after him just whooping you and lying to you, 5 minutes later, he go out into the world and Debo is about to beat your dad up and take his last little bit of money. Would you champion that? Would you praise that? Would you be happy? Some of you guys actually would, and that's the sad fact about it. That's the sad fact about it. Some of y'all don't have enough humility in yourself to say, you know what? Even though somebody may be wrong, I don't wish wrong or bad on them. I just want to be able to recognize and them understand that they were wrong so it doesn't happen again. Y'all don't want that. Y'all would rather just I get my lick back or something bad happened to you. And that's why a lot of you guys are not proud to be Americans, because you want to talk about the bad things that America did 50 years ago, 80 years ago, 100 years ago. But if we go back 50 years, I keep trying to explain to you guys, when Martin Luther King Jr. was getting Malinois and water hoses sicked on him and put against him, you had more Republicans in Congress and in the Senate who was agreeing with Martin Luther's movement at that time. More Republicans did, ladies and gentlemen. More Republicans in Congress and in the Senate voted for the 19 Civil Rights Act. Fast forward 1 year, for the Voter Rights Act, more Republicans voted yes for the, then you're going to say, oh, well, the party switched. That's not the truth, because y'all don't want to take 20 minutes to do a little bit of reading and a little bit of research to understand exactly what happened. Am I going to say that none of the old time racist Democrats didn't turn Republican? I'm not going to say that that's not what happened. But what I am going to say, it's less than 20% of them that changed. That's what happened. So now we're going to talk about it. There were some, but the majority of the racists, what we call Dixiecrats, they died in those seats, in those positions. Less than 20% of them switched from Democrat to Republican. And do you know the funny part about that? That almost half of those racist Democrats that did switch to Republican actually changed their viewpoint and ideology on civil rights and black issues. See, they don't tell y'all that. The ones who were racist Democrats, when they did switch to Republican, I ain't gonna say they weren't racist, but you know what? They said, oh, well, the niggers do need some rights and they do need some votes. We were thinking about it a little bit wrong over there. So we see it this way now. But y'all don't want to take 20 minutes to read it. You hold on to your truth. And I hate when men say that in today's society, my truth. As a man, you should know you don't own a monopoly on truth. Either it is or it's not. It can't be yours. It's not like an owner's manual. It's the truth. And we all have one copy of the owner's manual. It is how you change the transmission on a Honda. One owner's manual, the same one, multiple copies, not multiple versions, multiple copies. But it all says the same thing. Says the same thing, not like the King James versus the NIV. No, that ain't what I'm talking about. See, that's when we start getting into my truths. Because now, thus saith the Lord. And now I'm going to tell you a version of it. And now I'm going to tell you, well, for instance, I don't want to get all biblical here, but there's a passage when it talks about it talks about Lilith, and there's a few different interpretations where one, it actually just uses the name Lilith, and Lilith was used to describe two times. Lilith was used to describe either one, it was used to describe goats or sheep, animals of that nature. But also Lilith was also, well, that's one interpretation of how Lilith can be used. Lilith was actually used or also used to describe a beast or a scary thing in the night that screams and hollers and is really hairy. That's also what it was used, or the sitars and different things of that. So now we have to understand what word was used, what the meaning of that word meant, and then we got to go forward from there. And a lot of people don't understand that, but right now, I'm going to tell you a woman punched this other woman. But now, why do I have to add context to it? Because now we say woman, but what I mean by a woman and what you could mean by a woman are two different things. Because what you could mean by a woman is just a man in a dress. And now we have to have the argument that because he feels like a woman, he is a woman. And now I'm going to let you know that I don't believe that. So now when you told me a woman did it, now are we both understanding that this was somebody who has the capabilities, propensity to become pregnant, who has fallopian tubes or ovaries, or at least should, because we understand how women's anatomy works. Because I heard somebody say, well, just if a woman can't get pregnant, then she's not a woman. No, she has the ability to. And if something happened, so humans are born with 2 legs. Just because a human isn't born with 2 legs doesn't make them not a human no more. So just because women are born with the ability to give birth, just because a woman can't give birth doesn't make her not a woman no more. But I'll tell you what, if you are born without the propensity or the likelihood of doing something, you can never say that you are that. But see, this is where we are in society. So now when words were being used, when you said a woman and he meant this by a woman. So now when you said a Lilith, but you meant that by a Lilith. When you said but you mean this by it. So now are we all understanding what we mean when we say these things? Or do different people tell you, oh, well, this is what it means to me? So now all the work that Merriam and Webster did, shout out to Oxford too. So all the work that they did, are you telling me it's null and void because you're telling me what it means to you? So when Merriam and Oxford and Webster all told us that ignorant just means a lack of knowledge or unknowing, and now you tell me, well, ignorant means you're calling me stupid. That's what it means to me. So now are you telling me that everybody should disregard Merriam, Webster, and everybody else, and we should use your definition? So now, how do I have a conversation, ladies and gentlemen, when if I talk to you, it means stupid. If I talk to him, it means lack of knowledge. If I talk to him, it means you understand everything. If I talk to him, it means, oh, you're just being funny. Because in the black community, oh, my nigga, you ignorant. Right? That means he was just being funny. He was saying some jokes, right? So now ignorant means, oh no, that just means being funny. Oh no, that just means lack of knowledge. Oh no, that means you're calling me stupid. Oh no, that means, so now when I'm talking to various peoples, how do I know what you believe the word means when I talk to you? Or now when we use words, do we have to have the meta conversation to understand what people believe the word means to them? So now we can find common ground to use words that we can all agree on what they mean together. But now what happens when we don't? What happens when I'm trying to use a word that means not knowing, but in your vocabulary, you don't have any words that mean that? Because you're always going to equate, well, if you're telling me that I don't know, that means I'm stupid. And what if I'm trying to explain that the fact that you don't know doesn't mean you stupid? But to me, it does. So now, could I ever tell you you don't know something without calling you stupid? Do you see where we are, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see where we are? So now we're gonna play, and semantics are important. Because what do you mean? Oh, he called me a dog. Well, in his vernacular, that meant friend, right? But see, you didn't understand the semantics. Because in your vernacular, in your vocabulary, you thought ignorant meant I was calling you dumb or stupid or disrespecting you. And do you guys understand that there's a difference between being dumb and being stupid? Do you understand that? See, dumb, you don't have the ability to learn. That's dumb. The DSM-2 and DSM-3 actually used to use that as a medical diagnosis. Dumb. They used to call kids deaf and dumb. We then started calling it retarded. That was an actual medical diagnosis. Mental retardation. Even idiot and imbecile used to actually be medical words that they called people who exhibited certain or lack thereof of certain cognitive functions. They would be called imbeciles, idiot, dumb, retarded. These were medical words. These were not insulting words. These were words that meant people who exhibited, or the lack thereof, of certain mental or cognitive functions. But now I can't say these words. I'm not supposed to. So now, do you mean to tell me because I want to be monetized and I want to keep getting my money that I can't say the truth? So do you see what happens, ladies and gentlemen? The truth now becomes subjected or held at hostage or ransom for pay. Because now when I'm in the workspace and I'm in the field, when I'm in the vicinity of a transgender and they tell me what their pronouns are, and I don't, because I believe in Christian values and I can clearly see that you're a man and I don't want to lie because that's part of my moral compass. I'm just not going to say a man in a dress is a woman. I'm not going to agree that you could get pregnant. I'm not going to call a him a her. That's just not part of what my makeup is. But now you're going to tell me that I'm insensitive and I got to get some type of training at the work or I'm going to be fired. So now my money depends on me lying. So it's no longer dependent on my ability to do the job. Thank you, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because now in order to include you, my job is not now dictated by my performance. My job is now dictated by how inclusive I am to what you have. Am I accepting of the diversity? Do I use pronouns? So it doesn't matter that I'm the best electrician on the floor. That doesn't matter. What matters now, do I use pronouns to everybody who's on the floor? Do we understand what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? But some of y'all say we need diversity and equity and inclusion. Well, if it wasn't for that, the white folks would keep us out of it and they wouldn't, and we couldn't do nothing if it wasn't. Okay, so we need diversity and equity and inclusion. So why when I call you a DEI hire, you're upset? I don't understand. You're telling me we need it because the white people won't hire us and give us a chance. So now we got DEI and you got a chance and you got the job, and I say you are a DEI hire and you tell me it's racist. So if me saying you're a DEI hire is racist, how is you being a DEI hire not racist? Oh my God. Oh my. Where the hell is the logic, ladies and gentlemen? I always use the analogy because I say Lizzo is a fat bitch. Oh, that's body shaming, Choosta. You can't say that. Oh, she feels good and you can't, that's body positivity and you can't say that and she's beautiful and she's this. You know what? Lizzo is beautiful. She is a beautiful, voluptuous woman and you kind of remind me of her. You got a body like Lizzo now that I think about it. Oh, fuck you, nigga. What happened? What happened? Body positivity. Body positivity. What happened? Lizzo's a beautiful woman. I'm agreeing with you and I'm agreeing you look like her. But now it's fuck me, huh? Oh, so you don't want to look like Lizzo, but I'm supposed to say she beautiful. See, I don't understand that. I don't get that. You're telling me this woman is beautiful, but yet you don't want to have her standard of beauty. So then would it be safe to suffice that maybe she's actually not beautiful or you don't think she's beautiful? Because I don't understand how you could say, oh man, that's amazing. That's beautiful right there. Would you want it? No, I don't want that. What? Make that make sense. That's a good car right there. Okay, you want a car like that? No, I don't want that. I don't want a car like that. But it's a good car though. Come on, man. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. But we cannot. And do you know why we cannot? Because it is devoid of logic. It excludes all logic. Law of contradiction, law of excluded middle. I'm getting some different things going on right here. Law of self-identity. There's a few other simple rules of logic, but those are the main premises right there. Law of excluded middle, law of contradiction, law of identity. So, and a lot of people don't understand that. And what I mean by that is that people will use a word and then I'll say, I don't know what that word means. Can you tell me what that word means? And then they'll just use the word to tell you what it means. Like ask a woman, what is a woman? Oh, a woman is when she's a woman, you know, when you being a woman, you're just describing actions. I want to know what it means. Tell me what it means. And See, this is where we are in society, and that's why we're allowing men in dresses to say that they are women, and people are accepting it. People are accepting it. And like, oh, well, the doctors say in Choosta, you got to understand, and they've been studying this. So why is it that I remember when doctors got on TV and told me that cigarettes didn't cause cancer. I remember doctors got on TV and told me marijuana had no medicinal value, no medical usage whatsoever. I remember doctors getting on TV and told me lead in paint didn't cause no brain issues. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? So I'm not saying don't trust the doctors, but what I am saying is we can't let one agency be the governing arbiter of right and wrong. For instance, the American Psychiatric Society Association, the APA. Why is it that the DSM is the only go-to for anything? Why don't we look at the caste system? Why don't we look at the IDC 70 or whatever that other model is called? Why aren't we not looking at, why is it no, this is the one way? Why, how come the DSM-4 used to call what we call gender dysphoria, especially in children's? Why didn't they call it, it used to be called a disorder or a dysfunction? And you know what they used to say in the DSM-3 and the DSM-4, ladies and gentlemen? We watch it, we monitor, but we don't do a lot about it, because most of these issues that kids are thinking and feeling, they kind of work themselves out by the time puberty is figured out. So we don't affirm, we don't do none of that. We teach kids to be happy with their bodies. And the things you can change, working out, diet, exercise, the things you can change those things if they're unhealthy for you. But you having dark skin, light skin, a big nose, crooked teeth, that shit don't matter. That shit don't matter. But that's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all want to change your appearance opposed to just being acceptable that the way God made you. There are certain things you could change to make yourself healthy. I get that. But I'm dark black. I ain't about to change myself to be light-skinned because they made fun of black niggas back in the day. Thank God Wesley Snipes came through. He changed it for a lot of dark-skinned niggas. But until then, we had it bad. And then Wesley Snipes, now I ain't gonna even lie, because of Wesley Snipes and dark-skinned niggas, because all we did was just do fighting man and tough man roles, right? Because of that, then the stereotype came out that light-skinned niggas was soft. You see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen? We go from one extreme to the next. Dark niggas wasn't in, then they started doing all the roles and acting tough, and then y'all initially thought that light-skinned niggas wasn't tough, even though y'all liked the niggas with the green eyes and the nice hair. Now that meant he ain't tough because he's a pretty boy. So now you have light-skinned niggas out here wanting to crash out for no apparent reason just to prove they tough. Come on, y'all. Come on. We really gotta do better. And see, this is what I like to do with a lot of these conversations, ladies and gentlemen. I like to call out. I was just having a conversation with a gentleman the other day, and we were talking about some DEI stuff and different things of that nature. And I said, why is it? Because, well, no, we were talking about white people who call out black people at jobs for, having bad attitudes and this and this and this and this. And he's like, see, that's racist. And, they always talking about what we do and this and this. I said, okay. I said, this is what upsets me. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I don't care if I do. This is a very feministic mindset, ladies and gentlemen. Extremely. And I'm going to tell you why. See, some of y'all getting y'all feelings before y'all hear it. You hear something that you don't like and, nigga, shut up and listen. That's why you don't know shit now. Because you ain't listening. Grandma said you got one mouth and two ears so you can listen twice as much as you talk, stupid. Now listen. It's feministic because things that we know are true. The white people say the black folks got a bad attitude. They be coming to work late. They be doing this. They be doing that. We know what the fuck they say about black people at work. We know what they say. That's racist. That's this. They're stereotyping us. But then if I go to all you dumbass niggas social media posts, I'ma see y'all complaining about black business. It's hard to support black business it's hard to support a black business when they got bad customer service. It's hard to support black business when they ain't on time. It's hard to support black business when X, Y, and Z. So why is it you can voice your fucking opinions? We know black business got bad customer service. We know black businesses got subpar quality. We know black businesses exhibit certain behaviors. So now when we know how niggas act when it's their own fucking business, now when the white people complaining about how they act at their business, oh no, that's not true. That's racist. That's this. Oh no. See, I can't deal with it. So you know your son is lazy as hell. Your son or your daughter won't even wash the goddamn dishes. You tell them to do something and they half-ass do it every fucking time and gotta shrug their shoulders and put their whole body into it. You tell them to do something, you ever see these kids? They gotta walk away and fall all out with their whole goddamn body. Like, motherfucker, what is wrong with you? I just said go do one fucking thing. We know how our fucking kids are. But when the teacher say, Jamal over here cussing, when the boss say, well, you know, they're just not performing at the level of the job. Well, what you want them to do? You want them to be a slave? You want them to work like a robot? You want them to... But now you're not taking into consideration, you know how they are at home. You know your son is a fucking liar. So now when the teacher is there telling you he stole the little girl's lunch money and he's saying he didn't, but you know this nigga be lying at school. Well, you ain't gonna be talking about my baby and you ain't gonna be able to, and you. So why is it when we know, but then when somebody else says it, it's wrong? I don't understand that. Shout out to the great Jimmy Dore. He said the children of alcoholic parents don't get mad at the action. They get mad at you calling out the action. I told you, I seen a young man shoot another man because he called his mother a crack whore. But his mother was actually soliciting herself for cocaine, ladies and gentlemen. His mother was actively in that moment trying to solicit herself for crack cocaine. But he shot the man who said it. We don't understand. We don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about toxic behavior and male behavior. And listen, I'm not even about to drag y'all down another rabbit hole. I'm not even gonna do it. Y'all lucky. I thought it was a black hole and we was about to go there, but we're not gonna do it. We're not. I need y'all to drop purple hearts in the comment section. That's what I do need those. I ain't gonna lie. Feed me, Seymour, feed me. Purple hearts in the comment section does a lot for the algorithm. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to start calling these things out. I was speaking with a pastor the other day and I said, so in your opinion, is homosexuality right or is it wrong? He quoted the Bible where God says it's abomination and it stinks in his nostrils. So now I said, when you see a church who allows homosexuals to come into the church and hold positions in the choir, be deacons, etc., what do you say to that pastor? Well, I don't say nothing to that pastor. If that's what they want to do, that's on them. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay positive. Please stay productive. Remember, local elections are more important than national elections, but dollars are stronger than votes. They won't stop until we stop them. Liberation comes at a cost. Who's willing?